transmission from Oz, sir.
What?
Psst. Hey kid, you wanna see what $500 worth of anime looks like? Yo, what's up? It's your boy William, back by request to talk about giant fucking robots. Let's start things off by giving a huge shout out to the person who requested this video, the gut-punching enthusiast Andy Gutierrez. I'm not making that up, by the way. Go check out Andy's channel if you like watching people take a shot to the stomach. This time around, we will be focusing on the wildly popular anime that is directly responsible for my love of anime and Gundam's introduction into the West, Gundam Wing. It is also responsible for a staggering amount of yaoi, but we will never speak of that ever again and resume ignoring that fact entirely. This series is quite similar to Mobile Fighter G Gundam, and it features many of the same staff members, including the glorious mech designer Kunio Okawara. It follows the events surrounding Operation Meat Eater.
They're all meat eaters.
Meteor.
Take it easy.
Today we will also be taking it one step further by covering its sequel OVA, Endless Waltz, which features a whole hell of a lot of retconning and some flat-out awesome redesigns by the fantastic Hajime Katoki. As usual, we will only be covering suits that appear in the anime, but unlike our other installments, we will not be dividing them up by faction since this anime has more betrayal and infighting than a friend group of high school girls.
Listen, bitch. One word and you're over. I mean that.
Instead, we will be listing them A through Z by model number, since a lot of the factions end up using a lot of the same mobile suits, much in the same way that girls of all ages share clothing amongst each other. The designs in both Wing and Endless Waltz are an interesting mixture between what you would see in a super robot anime and a real robot anime, but unlike Mobile Fighter, Wing leans much more toward the real robot hard science fiction side instead of the what if Ryu from Street Fighter had his own Gundam side. Considering that this is our third installment and will not be our last, I'm going to assume from here on out that everyone knows what a mobile suit is and that everyone knows a Gundam is indeed a special type of mobile suit. For anyone having trouble understanding that, think about it like this. All Big Macs are double cheeseburgers, but not all double cheeseburgers are Big Mac. In this instance, a Gundam is a Big Mac and a mobile suit is a double cheeseburger. Ah yes, Gundam X McDonald's, the crossover we all wanted. Considering the existence of official 7-Eleven themed Gunpla kits, things like this kit should be much more than just a fan-made Gunpla kit. Anyway, with all of that behind us, let's get this show on the road. Starting things off, we have a mobile suit that you probably didn't even know existed, since it doesn't have a model number and doesn't have a lot of the information on it other than its name, the Mining Colony Mobile Suit. As far as I can tell, it only appears in 2 episodes for less than 25 seconds. Seriously, this thing isn't in the Ultra Edition art book and doesn't even have a Gundam fandom wiki entry, but it is still listed there somehow. That's not right. Good enough to do the work, but not good enough for a model number? Don't worry, Mining Colony Mobile Suit. You're still good enough for this list and the Weebinar appreciates you. Moving on to the first legitimate combat mobile suit, we have the very first mobile suit ever created in the After Colony timeline. The indomitable OZ-00MS Tallgeese. Known for literally killing anyone who wasn't man enough to pilot it, this mobile suit's performance was way ahead of its time and had to be vastly simplified to make it viable for use. So basically they invented a Ferrari Testarossa that was so fast that it killed everyone that drove it, so they had to turn it into an AMC Gremlin so the normies didn't die. Up next, we have the Tallgeese sequel, Too Fast, Too Tallgeese. Just kidding, it's the OZ-00MS2 Tallgeese 2. Built exclusively for the calm, quiet, and calculating 24-year-old ideological titan Treize Kushranada out of spare parts for the Tallgeese. This mecha was identical to its predecessor in performance, however, it featured a different look, including a new face mask, a new crest, and a spiffy new paint job that evokes that decidedly Napoleonic motif that its pilot embodies. Number 4 on this list is the first of many astrologically themed mobile suits, the OZ-02MD Virgo. Developed by the engineer with the second longest nose in this anime from the data and designs of the Mercurius and the V8 specifically for use by the Mobile Doll AI system, This machine was a fearsome opponent that made use of the best tech available at the time, including armor made from Gundanium alloy. So what does it have to do with the Virgo zodiac sign? As far as I can tell, nothing beyond tenuous speculation. Making our way to the next entry, we find the basic Mook NPC of Gundam Wing, the OZ-06MS Leo. Serving as the obligatory Zaku 2 reference, this mobile suit was created from the Tall Geese with a focus on not killing anyone that potentially piloted it. Featuring standard stormtrooper accuracy and made of explodium, unless piloted by a main character, it is used by every single faction, and almost every single character in the anime pilots one at least one time. Flying on over to the next entry, we find the OZ-07AMS Ares, the standard Mook, but this time with jet engines. Just like its sibling suit, the Leo, this machine was derived from the Tall Geese, but this time around with a focus on dominating the skies. Easily the second most used mobile suit in the anime, it dominated the skies and was an unopposed destructive force on Earth, until those pesky Gundams made their way onto the scene.
It's a Gundam!
Treading our way on over to the next entry, we have the OZ-07MS Tragos, the much more rare heavy assault variety of the standard Mook. This mobile suit was developed from the Leo to serve as a tank mobile suit hybrid, armed with two big-ass shoulder-mounted cannons, a beam rifle, and an optional set of hover treads. This mech was certainly equipped to handle its role. You may also notice that it isn't named after a zodiac symbol, but evidently Tragos means goat in Greek, so they were probably trying to reference Capricorn. Diving into the next entry, we find the OZ-08MMS Cancer, the first aquatic mobile suit developed by Oz. It is armed with torpedoes and anti-ground missiles for combat. This transformable machine was designed more for underwater cruising, and thus does not have legs, which very conveniently allows it to resemble its zodiac namesake. Astrology fans rejoice. Swimming on over to our next entry, we find another aquatic suit, the OZ-09MMS Pisces. Much like the Cancer, this mobile suit is built mainly for the water and is transformable. But unlike the Cancer, it does not resemble its zodiac symbol, and it is actually amphibious. It is armed to the gills with torpedoes, depth charges, and it has highly effective claws mounted to its hands. Running with the bulls, we find the OZ-12MS Taurus, the space variety of the standard Mook. This suit was originally designed for human use in space, but became the go-to mobile suit for the AI-driven mobile doll system, and eventually overtook the Leo as the most widely used mobile suit, which would lead to it seeing use in every theater of war thereafter. Challenging everyone to a duel is the next entry on our list, the epically awesome OZ-13MS Epion. Designed by Treize Kushranada using data from the Tall Geese and the 5 Gundams, this is a man's mobile suit that doesn't need any cowardly long-range weapons, except for that one time. It makes use of a segmented superheated whip and a beam saber that plugs straight the fuck into its generator. The Epion can also transform into a flight mode that makes it look like a badass two-headed dragon. Up next, we have one half of a dynamic duo, the OZ-13MSX1V8. Designed using the Taurus as a reference by the 5 Gundam scientists, this mobile suit shares visual motifs with Fujin, the Shinto god of wind. It is armored with Gundanium and makes use of an insanely powerful beam cannon powered by a generator strapped to its back, making it more offensively oriented than Nick DiPaolo at a comedy show in Portland, Oregon.
Suck my ass! Suck my ass!
Moving on to the other half of the dynamic duo, we find the OZ-13MSX2 Mercurius. Following the visual motifs of Raijin, the Shinto god of thunder, it was designed to cover the V8's ass while it blows everything to smithereens. This mech has a short to mid-range beam pistol, a crash shield that functions much like the YMS-15 Gyan's beam shield, and its trademark Planet Defensor Energy Shield Array, which makes it better at being defensive than your girlfriend when you tell her she's wrong. Toasty! Back with the bulls, we find the SK-12MS Taurus. Nearly identical to the original model, this particular mobile suit was painted white, used by the Sank Kingdom exclusively, and is the only known variant to make use of a beam saber. All in all, not that different, but apparently different enough to justify its own distinct model number. Returning to another one of Tuberov's designs, we have the WF-02MD Virgo 2, the pinnacle of Mook technology. This bad boy right here has all of the gear the original model did, but has been upgraded with more thrusters and beam sabers for melee combat. Controlled exclusively by AI and only used in space, it is unknown how well it would have functioned on Earth. One last time we must run with the bulls as we cover the WF-12MS Taurus. This time we have the White Fang variant, which is identical to Oz's unit in every single way, except for the sleek new red paint job, which would definitely make it faster if the White Fang was comprised of orcs. Dusting off the next entry, we have the WMS-03 Maganok. Developed by the collected countries of the Middle East that were tired of Oz's shit, only 40 units were produced, and they were all engineered to operate in concert with the Gundam Sandrock in desert biomes. Almost every single unit is customized for its particular pilot, which leads to a highly diverse set of weapons and technology. The most notable of these custom suits belong to the inner circle of Katra's team, the Abdul custom, the Ahmad custom, the Auda custom, and finally, the Rashid Kurama custom. Staying in the desert, we come to what is easily the thickest design in this entire video, and one that shares a name with an actor, the WMS-04 Oliphant. Designed to primarily assist the Maganok mobile suits by functioning as a ranged bombardment unit, this mech's movement is powered entirely by a hovercraft propulsion system, and it has absolutely no arms. So basically it's a fucking hovercraft T-Rex with guns on it. Taking flight into madness, we have our next entry, the XXXG-00W0 Wing Gundam Zero. Arguably the most famous mobile suit in the entire Gundamverse, this machine was designed by the 5 Gundam scientists to be better than the Tall Geese without murdering its pilot. So instead of being too rough physically, they decided to create the Zero system. Zero standing for Zoning and Emotional Range Omitted, which drives its pilot fucking insane in order to achieve perfect victory, because...
Remember what I taught you, kids? Winning is...
fucking everything! Yeah!
Fuck yeah!
Next up, we have the eponymous mobile suit for this anime, the XXXG-01W Wing Gundam. Designed by Dr. J, no, not that one. Yeah, that one. A step back in quality from the Wing Zero, this mech nevertheless retains its basic ideas and equipment without driving its pilot fucking insane. It is capable of transforming and blowing up a whole lot of shit. A lot of you may not know this, but the initial design of this suit did not have wings, because it follows the nationality trend from Mobile Fighter G Gundam, and it is based heavily upon the God Gundam. Moving on, we come to the God of Death, the XXXG-01D Gundam Death Scythe. Designed by Professor G, who is clearly related to the Wicked Witch of the West, this suit focuses on stealth and slicing the absolute fuck out of whatever it hits with its awesome beam scythe, with long range being less of an emphasis. Like our previous entry, this suit's initial design followed the Mobile Fighter G Gundam nationality trend and is described as European.
From overseas, you know what I'm saying? It's all from Europe.
Improving upon the previous entry, we find the incredibly awesome XXXG-01D2 Gundam Death Scythe L. This mech features a double beam scythe to slice double the amount of absolute fuck out of anything it hits. Thanks to its upgrades, it can now become completely invisible, travel through space with ease, and withstand a greater level of damage. This mobile suit, or rather its model kit, was responsible for pissing off the once mighty religious right in America because of merely using the word hell, which was seen as profane and not appropriate for children. So as a result, Toys R Us crumbled like weak old cat barf and pulled the model from its stores. Up next, we have a literal walking armory with the XXXG-01H Gundam Heavy Arms. Designed by Dr. S, the David Lynch lookalike with a prosthetic nose.
Take another look, Sonny. It's gonna happen again.
This machine was designed to win battles with its overwhelming amount of firepower, featuring Vulcan guns in its head, machine cannons on its clavicle section, a pair of Gatling guns in the chest, 6 homing missiles stored in the shoulders, 2 missile pods on either leg containing 12 micro-missiles each, a beam Gatling gun carried by the hand, and finally an army knife fixed to its right arm in case it runs out of Daka. Just like its sibling suits, this machine was originally designed using the Mobile Fighter G Gundam nationality trend, this time around following an obviously American style. Reload your shooters, boys. It's time for more Daka with the XXXG-01H2 Gundam Heavy Arms Custom. Upgraded by the colorful and largely unsung Mike Howard, this mecha has very little screen time but has a whole lot of guns. It remains largely the same as its predecessor, featuring new thrusters to make it more viable for space combat, and the beam Gatling gun has been upgraded to a twin beam Gatling gun because, as any true greenskin will tell you, the best way to solve a problem is by unloading as many rounds of ammunition at it as you possibly can. What if Bruce Lee had his own Gundam at the age of 15? If he did, it would probably be our next entry, the XXXG-01S Shenlong Gundam, constructed by Master O to be capable of performing Chinese-style martial arts. This machine is armed with 2 Vulcan guns in its head, a beam glaive, a dragon fang which can propel itself into a target or spew flames, and the Shenlong shield. Just like the others, this mech's initial design followed the nationality trend, which is now in this case obviously Chinese, and it is clearly based off of the Dragon Gundam. Interestingly, the word Shenlong translates to God Dragon in English, and this suit is likely a reference to the Chinese war god Neza, due to its flame and dragon motifs, but also due to the fact that Nataku is one of the Japanese names for him. For might, for right, the XXXG-01S2 Altron Gundam is Double Dragon!
Fight for right, the might of the dragon! With the mark of the dragon!
That's right, this machine has twice the amount of dragons as its predecessor, and it kicks twice the amount of ass. Built from the wreckage of the Shenlong, it has brand new thrusters, making it viable in space combat, with all the same armaments as the former suit, just more of them, featuring a double beam trident, another dragon fang, and a brand spanking new double beam cannon attached to its back. If you ever wondered where its name comes from, like I did, evidently it is taken from Erto Long, which translates to two-headed dragon. Back to the desert we go for the next entry, the XXXG-01SR Gundam Sandrock. Created by Instructor H on behalf of the Winter family, it is designed to operate in harsh desert environments in tandem with the Magnat Corps. It is outfitted with an extensive array of advanced communications and surveillance equipment, including a head-mounted camera capable of functioning without error in a sandstorm. This machine is armed with standard Vulcan guns, 2 massive heat shuttles, homing missiles, a shield, and a cross cruncher, which is a combination of the shuttles, shield, and backpack that forms a horrifying weapon capable of grabbing and crushing other mobile suits. As you have probably figured out by now, this mobile suit follows the same nationality trend, and, like the Magnat Corps, this suit's initial design was described as Arabian. Improving upon the last entry, we come to the final suit from the main anime, the XXXG-01SR2 Gundam Sandrock Custom. Much like the others, this version is nearly identical to the original and has been modified for space combat by equipping it with a more powerful thruster array and backpack thruster. Upgraded by the fabulous Mike Howard, this new custom version cannot use the Cross Crusher, but it has all the same weapons and now comes with a beam machine gun that looks an awful lot like a giant MAC-10. Not sure exactly how a MAC-10 fits into the whole Arabic motif, but hey, what do I know? Maybe I'm wrong. Can anyone from an Arabic culture let me know in the comments how all that works? Are MAC-10s just growing on trees in Arabia? Now, if you're thinking, that can't be everything, you're right, because now we're going to get into Endless Waltz and all of the wonderful mech designs by Hajime Gatoki. But before you come at me in the comments section saying, those model numbers for these Gundams are the same and that can't be right, well it is, and you can blame that on the retconning that I mentioned before. Please also be aware that unless it got a redesign, we won't be showing you anything that appears in both the anime and the OVA like the OZ-06 MS Leo. With that behind us, let's begin the Endless Waltz. Feast your eyes upon the strongest mook technology that science can create, the MMS-01 Serpent. This mobile suit is the literal final boss of the mooks, and as such is heavily armed with 2 8-tube missile launchers, a double-barrel Gatling gun, a bazooka, and a beam cannon. This suit has a very obscure and unknown genesis, as Marimea claims that they are a Christmas present from Trace, which implies that Oz made them. However, the novelization of Endless Waltz states that its armor was made by the Rockefeller Foundation, and it is further stated in the No Grade 1 out of 100 manual that it was developed by the United Earth Sphere Alliance. So at any rate, one of those organizations had something to do with making it, but either way, the Serpent's name is a reference to the often disputed 13th zodiac sign, the Ophiuchus. Up next is one of the most awesome things to ever be called a mobile suit, the OZ-00MS-2B Tallgeese 3. Unlike RoboCop 3, Spider-Man 3, Blade Trinity, Alien 3, Jurassic Park 3, Terminator 3, and the dreadful Godfather Part 3, the third installment in the Tallgeese trilogy is the best iteration. The tertiary model keeps all of that killer performance while adding a pair of head-mounted Vulcan guns, an Epion-like heat rod, and a mega cannon as well as its original weapons. It has a new head design that I believe is a clear nod to Char Aznavour's helmet. Taking flight with angelic wings is our next entry, the XXXG-00W0 Wing Gundam Zero. This time around, Hajime Katoki has gifted us with one of the most visually impressive Gundams to ever grace a screen. Although it is listed as having the same functions and equipment, we do not see it enter into bird mode in Endless Waltz, and it also seems to be lacking the shield that the previous iterations had. Regardless of equipment, this suit shined when it was on screen and delivered one of the most epic fights in any Gundam series. Stepping out of the shadows is our next entry, the XXXG-01D2 Gundam Deathsight Hell. Just like its sibling suits, this mecha is functionally identical but vastly improved from a visual standpoint. The new cloak look is definitely reminiscent of Dracula, our standard depictions of death, or even what Dracula looked like in the original Castlevania games. At any rate, it definitely deserves to be talked about as one of, if not the coolest looking mobile suit ever fucking made. As you know by now, we need more DACA, and our next entry is willing to provide it. That's right, next up is the XXXG-01H2 Gundam Heavy Arms Custom. In addition to receiving the standard visual upgrade, this suit was actually given more guns as if it fucking needed them. It has an extra set of chest Gatling guns and another handheld double Gatling gun, as well as a shitload of extra missiles. This mech also uses the same half-clown mask that its pilot makes use of. It is once again time for the dragon, meaning the next entry is the XXXG-01S2 Altron Gundam. My personal favorite from the series, and one of the very first Gunpla that I ever completed successfully, this mobile suit is just straight up badass. Possessing all of the same weapons and abilities of the original, this mobile suit got an aesthetic upgrade and a size upgrade, as its dragon fangs are now literal fucking dragon heads. Next up is the last entry in this video, the XXXG-01SR2 Gundam Sandrock Custom. Much like the other Katoki redesigns, this machine is vastly visually superior to its predecessor and has all the same equipment. There is one important and very anime-related addition, and that is the anti-beam coating cloak. Because anything with a cloak is instantly cooler, so why not make it effective while we're at it? Other than that, there has been a strange addition of a shield, which was never present in any iteration until it appeared in the 1/144 HGFA model kit for this Gundam.
It's been quite a while, Lieutenant Zex.
Well, that's it and that's all. Thank you for watching all suits from Gundam Wing listed A through Z by model number, and thank you Andy Gutierrez for requesting this video. If any of you out there have a suggestion about how to improve our content, or if you would like to see us cover a specific topic, please let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. If you want to see more content like this in the future, remember to like and subscribe. If you would like to support us and decrease the time between videos, please consider joining our locals community. $3 tier members of our locals community will get priority on requested topics and games, early access to videos, behind the scenes updates, and visual shoutouts, while awesome motherfuckers who want to be $20 tier members get all of that. Plus, the ability to add questions to our anime reviews, the ability to add challenges to our long plays and let's plays, and a special audio shoutout at the end of each video we make. With that said, I'd like to thank you one more time. It was a blast doing this. I enjoyed watching this anime one more time, if not for the 1000th fucking time. And like I said, let us know what's up in the comments. We'll see you next time.
I bet she smells fishy in her shower. How much longer does she still last? What qualifies a 15-year-old like you to run a country? Why you always wear the same thing? How do you feel about Hero Yui licking your nudes?
Are the colonies starting a war against us?
What do you think about the AI porn with you in it? Do you feel like Greta Thunberg is stealing your thunder? Any truth to rumor that you start an OnlyFans?
How could they ask those things?